Hey, good morning, folks. Wow, what a day. I'm back from Washington, D.C., where all the people meet. Like the song goes, where where's that lyric? Debbie Harry, her little rap song. Chris Cordani's here. Chris, help me with the lyric. What is that song that Debbie Harry does, where the people meet and they zap their heads and eat their brains? What song was that? Oh, that's Rapper's Delight.
It's Rapture,
Rapture.
right?
That's
It's
right,
a,
Rapture.
a song kind of making fun of rap, but it fuses new wave and rap. Fab Five Freddy not only was mentioned in the song, but
That's
he was
right.
in the video.
He's a real guy.
Yeah, he's in
He's
the
a real
video.
guy.
Yes,
Yeah. He's that guy that likes all dressed up nicely, right? In the beginning and through it. Is that him?
I believe that's him. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
know Fab Five Freddy? Is he still around?
I'm not sure. Oh, one of my
Ah,
favorite early rappers was Grandmaster Flash. I think just because of the
he's
name
good.
Grandmaster. Yes.
I actually liked him. He had kind of a heavy beat, which I liked, and also who doesn't like Run DMC, right? That
Nobody hates Run DMC. They were great
no,
at fusing rock and rap. They knew what they were doing.
except maybe Kathy Hochul, but that's a different story, and we'll talk about New York and
Yeah, yeah. I think we're gonna.
retaliation and things like that. But Chris, I was off yesterday. You know that, right? I think you do. I think
I think I
everybody
was
does, right?
here. Yeah, I was here when we were talking
I
about
think
that.
you were there, and you were here, and I wasn't.
Right.
And I think did you tell the folks where I was at or not?
I did not because I figured it's best for you to tell them since it's
Oh,
just there's a lot. I don't like to give personal information out. That's not what I do. But
well, it's not
I said you were at Johnny
super.
Carson's school.
Yeah, well, I was. I didn't do well. They kicked me out.
Well, you
Sent me
did better
home
than
after a day.
Colbert. Well,
It's
you did
like,
better than
yeah,
Colbert.
no, you're not good. Yeah, they didn't give me my Doc Severinsen in time, so I didn't pass.
Ooh. You know what? I know what I'm going to do in the
Oh,
future. I'm going to hook up my keyboard to this, and we're going to be doing some music. I'm going to infuse music
that
into the
could be fun.
program. Yeah, I think we should do
Yeah.
that.
So,
I'll look it up.
what kind of doctor is Doc Severinsen? I like him, by the way. He's still alive. He's kicking. He's still doing stuff at 90, like 96.
Not only that, he's a real doctor as compared to let's just say Dr. Jill.
That's right.
That was a
Dr.
real
Jill.
shock. Yes.
Well, she is doctoring Joe, sort of like in a Wicked Witch of the West sort of thing, but it is what it is. So, gynecology. So don't put Karen is on honeymoon and gynecologist in the next sentence. Jesus.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm not exactly sure where that works, but again, yeah.
No. Oh. Oh.
I am sure where that works, but I think you know where I'm going. I'm not sure that works in the chat.
That's kind of something to wake up to. It's the whole idea is like, really? So
Hey,
yeah, I saw Karen. I saw Karen's wedding pictures. They're very nice.
yeah, they are nice.
Hopefully she'll come on and talk about it soon. So,
Maybe she'll bring home movies. That sounds good.
home movies are always kind of cool, especially if they're like Super 8.
Well, I remember back. See, I'm one of those rare people who like the 1985 Saturday Night Live season. The first episode, Madonna was the host, and she did old home movies of the fake home movies of Madonna and her family doing something. I forget, maybe a family
Yeah.
reunion, and all the kids and the family were dressed up like Madonna, wearing the makeup. It was kind of funny, but people don't realize that was a very funny year. But
Yeah.
it just didn't work for some reason. I guess the chemistry didn't. There was a lot of great stuff that year. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks that was funny. But anybody remember that season?
I
Tell me what
don't.
you think.
I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I don't. So, anyway, so back to why I wasn't here. I was at a funeral for a friend, not the Elton John one, not Love Lies Bleeding on the Ground, right, Chris? We're not talking about a funeral for a friend. We're talking about a funeral, a real funeral for a friend.
Right.
I know we talk about music a lot, right? We always talk about music, so we're not talking about Elton John, right? No, no Elton. I wasn't going to a concert. So some of you who follow me on Facebook know that one of my dear friends and mentors, Lieutenant General Pat Hughes, passed earlier this year. And his funeral, apparently, Chris, there's a waiting list to get into Arlington Cemetery because he passed in March and it's August. So it took some time. I guess they had ants digging the hole. So it took a really long time for the ants to
Are
kind
you
of do the 6
saying
foot.
are
Yeah.
you saying people are dying to get in?
Apparently they are. Yes. So anyway, we had a wonderful send off. It was for those who know Fort Myer, the chapel, the base chapel was packed. I mean, it was standing room only. This and you know, he's not a national well-known figure. He's just one of our legends, internal legends within the intelligence community. And so I was there with my compadres, Pete O'Brien, Navy Captain Pete O'Brien. You know Pete. Pete was there with me,
Good
and
man. Good man.
Sergio de la Pina, who's a former candidate for governor, retired colonel, and former attaché to Latin America. So we all three had worked for Pat in some form. Some of you know I ran Stratus Ivy. Pat, let me put together, you can see the little chart over there. We put together the first undercover cyber unit. We were talking about some of that with folks. My dear friend and favorite general that I always talk about, Bob Harding, was there. You know,
Nice.
General Harding. I got some good pictures of he and my old boss, Colonel Jerry York, you know, Alvin York, Sergeant York's grandson. So it was a good turnout, really good turnout, except for one dirtbag. Am I allowed to talk about dirtbags on the air? I think.
Why not? It's okay because dirt bags are kind of what the make what offer
He's
us
been
good
referred
material.
He's been referred to for prosecution.
Ooh, and who might that be? Dun, dun,
Well,
dun.
I got there, you know, and I'm saying hello to everybody, and I walk in, and it's like I catch a bald head out of the corner of my eye. It's like,
And it wasn't me.
oh, this is going to be interesting. So, you know, I get into the chapel, and I'm being respectful. I would have done some other things otherwise if I had chosen not to be respectful, but I'm being respectful. So I have to go to the bathroom and something other. You know, everybody's getting settled in, and I look back, and there is one each Jim Clapper.
Ooh, Jim Clapper.
Jim
Now,
Clapper was there,
and I'm sure
and
you
he was
want
in
to
the
hang out
back
with him
row.
for a little bit, right? Yeah, I'm
So
sure
he
you
was in the
like
back row.
right.
Yeah. And by the way, he was a baby. Baby was in that row and started crying. I wonder why. I don't wonder why. Anyway, so I talked to the chaplain. I go around, talk to folks, and Clapper sees me, and I see him from across the room. I used to work for him, so he knows who I am. And he's a former director of DIA. So we're sitting there. If you could imagine, I mean, we're all friends. Pete and I are friends, like you and I are friends. We're all friends.
Right.
And we're sitting there like talking. It's like, why in the hell does that guy think it's a good idea to be at this ceremony? Now, I'll say this: within the constellation of Pat Hughes friends and mourners, there's Republicans and Democrats, no doubt, no doubt. But the one comment that was made, even by my lefty Democrat friends who were there, and yeah, there were a few, is why is that guy here?
Oh,
He has discredited the intelligence community. Think about that.
All right.
So, well, it's true. It's true. No, he didn't ask me to do a phony report because I didn't work directly for him. He was a general, and at the time, I had my own issues within that chain of command. Anyway, that's a story for another day. So Sean Lucas asked. I was an Air Force military case officer for a while. As a matter of fact, when I first moved to DC, I worked for the Air Force. Jim Clapper was the head of Air Force intelligence before I went to DIA. He did a bad job. Air Force intelligence went downhill under him. And after he destroyed that, he went to DIA to destroy that. Just saying. So, no, Clapper. And by the way, back in those days, Clapper was more focused on his own self-promotion than he was doing anything regarding fake reporting. It was all about getting Jim Clapper promoted.
Well, again,
That's
he
what he was doing.
invented that thing from the 1970s and 80s.
Clapper.
So don't
Clap
forget
on,
that.
clap on. That's right. He made a lot of money off that. I guess he's independently wealthy.
And then, of course, the chia pet. They should make a Chris Chia head. This way I can remember it's
Well, you know,
on King.
he should use his own product. He should put the chia on his head. He should have done that for a disguise.
Ooh,
So
how about a Dr. Fauci chia head?
yeah.
Anyway, I'm going down the rabbit hole again. So
Anyway,
let's pull it back.
The ceremony was very respectful. Again, for people who follow me on Facebook, I'll be posting some of the pictures, I think, today, if I could get to it. I got Newsmax after this. But it was a really, really nice send-off. He had a 21 gun salute, cannons, big old cannons. So I got that on video. And by the way, we had to file out of the chapel to the caisson where they had Pat's body. And Jim Clapper didn't go to the actual funeral. He only went to the chapel for the service, and then he disappeared like the devil himself. Just saying, I don't know if there's a relationship there or not, but he didn't go to the service or the reception. And frankly, Jim, you would not have been welcome. I don't think anybody would have wanted you there. So just saying. So anyway, the reason we're bringing this up is that I did have an opportunity, as I often do, Chris.
Oh, you do.
To say something to him. And we weren't as far back as him, but we were pretty far back. And so it just so happened the timing worked so that we came out into the aisle about the same time. And I was thinking, man, what should I say to him? And I didn't do it because out of respect to Pat Hughes, I wasn't going to be a dick at his funeral.
Well, I'm sure you were.
But I was tempted.
Yeah,
I was tempted. So to the Patriots, what should I have said to Jim Clapper if I was going to be a dick? What should I have said in passing? Because I have a few suggestions. We talked about this at the reception afterwards. So for the Patriots, what should I have said? Okay, pardon me. That's pretty good. What should I have said to Jim Clapper? Because he was right there, and literally, I could feel the evil. It's kind of like, it's not the Jim Brennan highly focused evil. It's more like incompetent evil. It's kind of like that. I don't know, like sushi, kind of that smell of 5-day-old sushi kind of evil. I don't know, but tell me. Scumbag. Well, scumbag trader. That's too direct. So it had to be something witty. Orange jumpsuit parade. Your color is orange. I like that. Your color is orange.
Scumbag. Oh, it's traitor. Actually, I can't use what she said, but that was from Dr. Kurtscheg. Trixie, what's your prison concession and number?
I should have said, have you got your commissary card for prison paid up?
Okay, there we go. How about tell Bubba we said hi?
So one of the things we had suggested was, hey, where's your ankle bracelet?
Oh!
Hey, did you drop your? So,
this is okay. American Mark. I don't know if I can say that one, but Tony can read that. Denise 15 got a good lawyer. That's not bad. Denise 15 again. Be nice to Bubba Jim.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good one.
I get in trouble for cucumber jokes and gerbil jokes.
Yeah,
I get yelled at for gerbil stuff now. Not that I do it. Not that I do it.
Right.
I'm just saying, anytime I bring up gerbils, I get in trouble. I'll get in trouble for just mentioning it now.
Well,
that's what I know.
Maybe you should switch to hamsters.
Maybe that's a good solution.
At least they work hard. I mean, on those wheels and everything. So,
well, I appreciate everybody's inputs. And then what else? One of the other ones was, are you and John going to be cellmates? John Brennan.
Yes.
Like, hey, are you and John going to be bunking up?
Again, suggestions for soap on a rope and don't drop the soap. Those are,
Well, that's good. That's
of
good.
course, it's practical
So,
advice.
well, trust me, I was tempted because I have said things to any number of leaders that they got really upset. Dave Petraeus will still not talk to me because I I told him a joke about Jim Woolsey. So, well, it was really a joke about Dave Petraeus that Jim Woolsey told me, but he's still pissed at me. And obviously, I've said other things to other politicians. Charlie Rangel wouldn't talk to me before he died, but he's dead, so it doesn't really matter now, does it? So anyway, yeah, it didn't really matter. But anyway, we will mail you the soap. Well, I think he'll get plenty of soap. I don't think soap's going to be something of a shortage for Jim Clapper. Anyway, it was notable that Jim showed up to this ceremony because, first off, his clearances are gone. He can't do work. And I don't know of anybody. I didn't see anybody talk to him. Nobody.
Well, I mean, again,
and I wanted to talk to him, but I would have said something really,
right.
inappropriate.
I'm sure he's a pariah. Here's the funny thing. I'm seeing a lot of people are again on social media and people who within conversations. This is anecdotal. While we do care about what's going on here with the Russiagate investigation and what happened, and believe me, it should be brought up when somebody says, "Hey, we have an economy Trump has to fix. I want to deal with the Epstein files. I want to deal with this, and this." The fact is, you're talking about people who committed treason and will keep doing so unless somebody is held accountable. And these are the same people who threw Peter Navarro in jail just for representing Donald Trump. These are people who throw grandmas and grandpas in jail just for showing up at a mostly peaceful protest. And I'm not talking about a St. Floyd one. I'm talking about January 6th. And these people will keep doing that unless somebody turns the tables on them. So yes, I do also believe the Democrats, it's going to be very difficult to indict Hillary or to throw Hillary in jail. But I do believe the deep state is willing to trade Clapper and Brennan for Hillary and all the secrets she would let out if she been indicted.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where we're at right now. Is I think people, I really did want to kind of ask Clapper about his legal status. Like, hey, the other thing I was going to say to him is like, hey, where are your lawyers at? Why are you here without your lawyers? That was the one I almost went with, by the way, because I was tempted. I got to tell you, I was so close to just saying, hey, Jim, where are your lawyers at? Why aren't you here with your lawyers? Because I figure that's not totally dick-like, pretty close, but not quite. I could have, and then I would have, I could have got away with that.
Right.
Yeah.
You could be a prick if you want. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I was close. I was this close. And it's like, nah, Pat Hughes, General Hughes was a true gentleman. And he would have, as much as he liked, we had a very close working relationship. He liked my direct style. He wouldn't have approved that. He would have given me that pat kind of stare at me like, you shouldn't have done that. So it's like, okay. I didn't do it. But anyway, he deserved to not be there. That is Jim Clapper. He anyway. So, and I don't know where the grand jury is. I don't know. It's going to take some time, folks. I see people are talking about that.
Well, again, it would take
basically put it all together, have people go before the grand jury. You got to pick a grand jury. Those things take time.
Right. Where's it going to be?
I'm hoping it's going to be September, October, which would be good. So,
well, if it's going to be in Washington, it might be a little tough. They have to find a district.
I think they may move it out. That's the other thing too, because they noticed that a lot of the prosecutions of Trump was moved to D.C. for the same reasons. Like, oh, they hate Trump, they'll get him. Yeah.
Right. So there has to be a lot of things taken into consideration. But I do believe the deep state knows it's in trouble. And when this happens, they circle the wagons around the big people or the people that will sing on them. Hillary is Bill's a big person, and Hillary will sing. She's already proven she can't handle losing an election. She cried in 2008. She she had the notorious, and look, I believe it. She had the notorious fit after losing in 2016, and I'm sure people who work with her or for her have been terrified of her for a very, very long time. The fact is, though, the deep state's terrified she's going to sing on them to save her own skin. So why not hide her, put the wagons around her, and say, hey, Brennan, Comey, we don't care. Just throw them in jail. They're the sacrificial lambs. Put them in Camp Cupcake, and we're all set. And I believe that's what's going to happen. Not that we're going to be satisfied with that, but that's the reality of the situation here. Like, I hope I'm wrong.
I think that's I think Bill. Can I speak about Bill Clinton? I guess I can. So I think Bill would be happy to be done with her if he can stay out of prison. And ironically, I think it's more of a chance of Hillary going to prison than Bill at this point. What do you think? What do the Patriots think? I think Hillary has far more chance to go to jail than
Bill. I do believe, honestly, I do believe she should go to jail again. But should and will are two different terms, two different words. You cannot, again, government, the deep state makes deals. They've been known to throw people under the bus who they don't really, who can be considered collateral damage. And I'm sure they predetermined this a long time ago. Because Bill and Hillary probably have all of their secrets, because Donald Trump knows a lot of their secrets. They have to find a way to stop them from doing anything. And if they can throw a couple of lambs to the woods or to the wood chipper, then they're going to do that. This way, people say, all right, we got our pound of flesh. Let's move on to fix the economy. And I believe that's what they're counting on. Whether it's going to be true or not, I don't believe that. Look, Epstein's not going to go away. So perhaps the idea of at least putting Hillary up for trial isn't going to go away. But remember, she got away with Benghazi. She got away with and she was even the fall person for poor decisions when she was Secretary of State, even though she was incompetent with that job. And I have to ask you another question. Speaking of which, who wore a blue dress better? Would it be? I'll have to grab that for you. Would it be? Oh boy, I'm getting old here. I am getting old here because something's going on. I'm trying to have a little problem here. Okay, yeah, my computer's a little slow. So anyway, who wore a blue dress better, Bill Clinton or Klinger? Tough one, huh?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know if they're the equal, because one is evil and one is just an actor, a good actor too. So
he is. And Jamie Farr is going to be at the Chiller convention, by the way. The Chiller this Halloween's Chiller convention. So that's going to be pretty cool in New Jersey. So if you're around there, check it out. So is Jeff Maxwell, by the way. They're doing a little thing.
I thought Cherie was going to that too. I thought Cherie
is going to one on August 24th. It's a different convention. That's in Wayne, New Jersey, at the Police Athletic League there. That's this month in a few weeks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We love Klinger here, so I guess that's it. And everybody's saying Klinger wore the dress much better, so I think it's a unanimous here. We're going for Klinger.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go to
some serious news. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go into.
I'm trying to get some folks. Folks came into the chat late, and I'm trying to give them the information on the thing. Hold on one second.
All right, we'll do that. And I'm going to throw something at all of you then. This whole idea that the Texas Democrat lawmakers are fleeing the state for a second time because they don't want to vote on something is getting a bit ridiculous. Governor Abbott wants to arrest all of them. It sounds like too much work, but the fact is somebody has to put some teeth in something, or else this is going to happen every time the Democrats find themselves in an unwinnable situation. Instead of fighting.
They've done this before, right? I mean, in several other states.
Right. It's not like it's never happened before. The fact is, the fact is that Governor Abbott and the Republicans are going to change around the districts in Texas, and apparently they're well within their rules. I'm not a fan of gerrymandering in the middle of the 10 years. I'm not a big fan. I don't care which party does it. What I don't like is the media lying about the whole thing. Look, Texas is doing what it's doing. I believe they're retaliating, but the media is portraying this as New York and California are looking at retaliating against Texas by fixing their own districts. Maybe California, but New York has been tossing this around since the last election. They lost a bunch of seats.
Yeah.
Mainly because of Hochul's incompetence. They lost a bunch of seats in a more fair in a more fairly districted state geographically than its usual gerrymandering. And now they want to go back to the old ways because they want to fix more Democrat seats. And that's not retaliation. That's been going on for a long time. The media is lying by saying Governor Hochul is trying to retaliate.
So, well, that's the thing. I mean, if you look at state at New York State, you can see that you guys live in this hugely gerrymandered area. Same with California. The left has worked to make sure that Republicans are not represented. And by the way, for the record, Texas has had a huge influx of population, right, Chris?
Right.
And that population, they're conservatives because they left blue states. So when the Democrats whine about this, like, oh, they're trying to get rid of Democrats. Yes, because you've lost your numbers. And there's Governor Hochul. She was attractive back in the day. I don't know what happened to her. So, but that's a nice.
It's the bad makeup. And again, the woman always talks like this. Never always has her teeth clenched.
Yeah,
virtually always.
It's like she's like suffering from some sort of premenopausal lockjaw, right? Is that what it is, or maybe it's post? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see if I can find an old New York State redistricting map, congressional district map. It's interesting. So let's see what I have here. Right. It'll take a little while, so I'm going to pull this up here. What New York has now, New York passed a rule some years back that required it to no longer gerrymanders or kind of weirdly design districts to fix congressional seats. They had to make it as geographical as possible. So at this point, you have one representative here. I believe this is Stefanik. Yep, there we go. Another representative here. That's kind of a weird Democrat / Republican area. This is another one, Rochester, all Democrat, but it's a city in and of itself. So it is what it is.
Right.
Same with the Buffalo, Niagara Falls. You got Western New York. You have this. This is my district here, which, by the way, used to be this in Westchester and Rockland, upon part of Rockland for that matter. This part of Westchester, part of Rockland. Then it was part of Putnam. It was a change around several years. But years ago, I'm going to see if I can pull this up. Years ago, we had a map where we had a guy named Maurice Hinchey, who was a congressman, used to work for Howard Zinn. He's a full-on leftist. He had a district here that covered Poughkeepsie, which was a city. Then it kind of squared around to parts of Ulster County and New Paltz. Then it went all the way stretched up to Ithaca, but it had like this really thin path to bypass rural and some of the suburban areas and only get some cities, the liberal ones like Ithaca, Poughkeepsie, and I believe for a little while it was Newburgh. And again, I may be yammering on, but the fact is it was purposely weirdly designed. Oh, and I believe Binghamton too was in it. It was purposely weirdly designed for a big win for this Zinn character. And then every once in a while, you'd have the token Republicans win as long as they play ball with the legislature, whoever's in charge, and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of these districts were, and this is what they want to go back to, redesign the districts in that such funny way to gain seats in the House. This is flat out cheating.
Yeah. So, and that's the point. It's like and you made that point, Chris, and I think people understand this. Some of these districts are designed to be like plus 30, like big time blue, like big time you cannot win in this district. They do that for a reason. They make it so that we don't have to worry. We can put up a moron like Jasmine Crockett. So Jasmine Crockett, by the way, is one of the people complaining about Texas. She's not New York. You've got AOC already. So Jasmine Crockett is in a plus 30 Democrat district right now in Texas. And of course, it would bring it down to virtually no advantage for the Democrats and the redistrict. So that's what they're upset about, is that people like Jasmine Crockett would have to actually, campaign, and people who actually watch the news probably wouldn't vote for it. At least anybody I know wouldn't vote for it. Just saying. So
All right, here's what New York tried to do. I'll see if I can find that here. New York tried to pull this off back in 2000, I think it was, or which year was it? I'm trying to find that. It's but you can see how they designed their districts back in the day. This is what they want to go back to, and this District 26. Yeah, I think yes, year 2000. District 26 is what I was talking about, where this is Hinchy's district. It's all the way over here. Not even geographic like District 20, which was where I was. District 19, which was again geographic. 21, it was the capital district, so that was going to be liberal anyway. But look at how they fixed Maurice Hinchy's district with Poughkeepsie all the way over here, up to Ithaca, New Paltz, and all the liberal areas there, stretching up to Binghamton. None of these cities have much in common, but the idea was to keep this Hinchy in office. So that's what I'm talking about here.
I think it's interesting. I'm glad we're having this discussion because so much of and look, we have it in North Carolina. We have this sort of thing going on where people are trying to gain advantage. But the bottom line is this. If you have a population that's mostly conservative, you'll have mostly conservative representation, right? Am I correct about that? I mean,
I believe so, my good sir.
I don't think I think that's a problem even AOC could figure out.
Well, it'll take her a while, but I think she could somehow figure it out sometime.
But anyway, but what we should be talking about is for the Patriots. We'll bring him in a second. One last question to the Patriots: Should the Texas Rangers put together a little private Air Force and go wrangle up these Democrats who left the? I think it'd be great. There could be a movie about this.
Walker, Texas Rangers.
Yeehaw! Chase him down, boy! Wouldn't that be great? In Chicago, Texas Rangers chasing down and putting the habeas corpus on Texas legislatures. Oh my goodness, this would be fun.
They could lasso them back. They could ride a horse, follow them around, lasso them back. That would be a great idea.
Well, they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it.
Yeah,
I think they're sending out the Rangers to get them. So
like hog tying the calves.
And I guess the other thing they can do is basically if you're an elected official and you don't show up, that could be considered abandoning your post, and they can fire you apparently, which I guess is rarely used, but that is an option for them. So that could be very interesting. That all of a sudden all these Democrat legislatures like, bye, thanks for serving. We'll send you your last check.
Well, then the other thing is a lot of them are hiding. Well, I believe the term was hiding behind J.B. Pritzker and going to Illinois doing that. Now, obviously, I think there are enough of them to hide behind J.B. Pritzker here, but where are they going to put their cats?
He's got pretty big armpits, so I don't know. I think you get him in. I think you could get him in there. Pritzker, did you know, before we bring in our guest 1 second, that J.B. Pritzker consumes more calories than any other citizen in the state of Illinois? Did you know that? He is like and he emits more methane gas than all the cows in the state as well. He is a one-man environmental hazard. Just saying.
And he thinks he's going to run for president on the Pritzker Stelter ticket.
Yeah,
that's the ticket.
It'll be a big ticket with extra lasagna. On it, so it'll be good.
Not even real lasagna. It's in Chicago.
All right, we have it'll be a fake lasagna. So anyway,
artificial lasagna, like artificial intelligence. That's where we bring in our guest.
That's right.
Here.
Artificial turf. They'll take artificial turf, turn it into lasagna. Anyway, we got a guest. Go ahead, Chris. Introduce our guest.
Well, Booker Scott is the host of Truth Be Told on the America Out Loud Talk Radio Network. Has a new book, and we've talked about AI here on and off, and as far as several angles here. This is a new one: the fight for the future of humanity, artificial intelligence, and Booker is talking about the idea that we have to be kind of proactive. AI could try to AI could actually advance to the point where it could gain human emotions and then maybe act like whiny liberals and demanding special rights and things like that. And I know I might sound far-fetched, but look what's going on here. ChatGTP and Grok have gone crazy already several times, and that's just typing. Anyway, uh, Booker, let's talk about your concept of a 28th Amendment in the Constitution to kind of be a major precaution for all this. And what are you proposing here?
Well, good morning, Chris and Tony. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed
Morning.
the first half hour of
What?
the conversation. It got a Alvin York in there. I don't know that a lot of Americans
No,
even know who that
I
is.
forgot. So Alvin York is my old boss.
Oh, it's a different Alvin York. I was
Right,
going back to
not the
World
other
War
Alvin
One.
York.
Okay, all right.
Not Dick York either, by the way.
Yeah, this book really has been in my head about 11 years, Chris. It goes back to a lunch that I had with a person named Martine Rothblatt. And Martine was an FCC attorney, actually invented satellite radio, Sirius satellite radio, and a very forward thinker. And in 2010, she created a robot called Bena 48. I had been working with her with the Political Action Committee on a candidate in Florida, the Congressional District 8. You were talking about congressional districts. And when we got finished, I sent a thank you card and said I would love to have coffee. We ended up having lunch that lasted about 2 hours. Now, this is someone that after being an FCC attorney that actually had legislation passed by the UN General Assembly as an attorney, went to England to study medicine because her daughter was born with a lung disease. She then started United Therapeutic and became the highest paid female executive in the country, creating artificial lungs and also pharmaceuticals, and has saved thousands of lives. So a very intelligent person. At the end of our conversation, she looked at me and she said, there are people right now writing code that will have robots having every human emotion and feeling that you have. They will love, they will feel, they will hurt. And when they do, they need to have rights. Well, again, this was December 2014. Martine Rothblatt was interviewed by the MIT Review in October of 2014, talking about these rights for robots. And I think it's pretty silly at the time. But now that artificial has grown and grown, and we see the things that are happening in society, I think it's time for us to preserve and protect human rights with the 28th Amendment. Yeah. And there's some confusion on the 28th Amendment because Joe Biden, on the way out of office, he says that the law of the land is the 28th Amendment, ERA. Well, that doesn't exist. The National Archives are responsible for saying what are the amendments. And the ratification process takes 38 states, and Virginia was the last to ratify the 38th Amendment or the 28th Amendment, and that happened in 2020, way beyond the 1982 deadline. So there is no 28th Amendment. We have 27.
Yeah. So Brooker, I'd like to lay some groundwork for the Patriots to understand context. So, I'm a big fan of sci-fi. I used to read it as a kid, and one of the authors I read was Isaac Asimov, and of course, he came up with the 3 laws of robotics. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, absolutely.
So within the context of that, then I think that basically those 3 laws basically it basically says robots can do no harm to humans. That's the 3 ethical, right. and then a robot will not permit any bad to come of a human, because there's some gray area there. It's like, what does that mean? What does that mean when you tell a robot you can't? So there's some real, like, okay, you can really get into some deep philosophical wells there, but AI's been around.
It has, and we talk about that in the book. What we wanted to do in this book is, because everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, nobody really knows what it is, I think, and so many people are. Yeah,
that's my point.
And so many people are intimidated by it as well, Tony.
Well, but it's been in the media for a long time. I just don't think people understood how to accept it.
I agree.
One of the earliest presentations of it was actually in Forbidden Planet with Robbie the robot. Robbie the robot was a fundamental artificial intelligent being because he could do things, and I think this is 53. Leslie Nielsen starred in that. And then it's been in media all the way through, kind of different forms in different places. But one of the more notable ones, which I found very frightening, and it's really, I think, relevant to what you're talking about and what we're talking about today, was the Forbin Project in I think 1971, where 2 computers decide, hey, we're going to take over the world. And so I think it was Chris. Was it Colossus?
It was Colossus. Yeah, I'm going to pull it up for a little bit.
Colossus and the Russia counterpart, which was borscht, right? No, it wasn't borscht. It was vodka. No, it wasn't vodka. But my point being
West, yes.
is that so my point to Booker is, Booker, this stuff has been kind of forecast for a long time. People have been talking about it, but now we're here. Now what you're saying is all of this stuff that people have speculated about, written books about. There's Robbie. That's is that Robbie?
No, that's the
Robbie.
robot. That's the robot from Lost in Space.
Lost in Space.
The Lost in Space robot. But here, that's another example. You're talking about the 60s, and this robot developed a human connection, with Dr. Smith and the kid, Will Robinson. He developed emotions. His feelings were hurt when Dr. Smith insulted him. There was a whole episode dedicated to his feelings being hurt. This was a whimsical precursor to exactly what you're talking about, Booker.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another one is Westworld, the movie with Yul Brynner from 1973. HBO made a series out of it. But the thing that we discovered while researching this book, and we wanted to make it easy to read so people understand what artificial intelligence is. Tony, you're going back to the 1950s. That's where artificial intelligence started. People don't understand that it was 1956 when there was the Dartmouth Conference with the people that started artificial intelligence. It's been with us for a very, very long time. There is something different that's about to happen. And when you look at the experts, those that are closest to the technology, Sam Altman, OpenAI, Elon Musk, Leopold Aschenbrenner, who was 19 when he graduated Columbia University, was part of OpenAI. They kind of kicked him out last year in 2024. They are all pointing to 2026, 27, and 28 when artificial general intelligence will develop. And that's a completely different thing than artificial intelligence. Artificial general intelligence would have the capability to connect across millions of artificial intelligence, and really it becomes smarter than you and I. And when they get to that point, those that would argue that they need rights, they would say that what is the difference between them and us? Because you talked about philosophy and a moral agency. All of those things come into play when you talk about this, because there are some people in this country that are going to assign rights to these robots and want to, because they say there's no difference between circuitry and silicon than there is in humanity. And that's what the motivation for this comes from. So we take you in three parts. We take you what AI is capable of today. And if I could, just for a second, let me try to explain AGI in a little bit more detail. If you take Deep Blue, the computer that beat the world chess champion in 1997, it could only play chess. It memorized 200 million chess moves that it could compute in 2 seconds, and it beat Garry Kasparov back in 1997. Everybody was amazed by it, but it was just a computer on steroids. It couldn't play checkers. If you put a checkerboard in front of it, it couldn't figure it out. With artificial general intelligence, it will have the capability to learn in seconds, turn around and beat you in checkers. Another example of that is a Toyota created by Toyota in 2020. It hit 2,020 free throws in a row, went into the Guinness Book of World Records. It can only shoot free throws. It can't guard, it can't dribble, it can't jump. With artificial general intelligence, that same being would have the capability to do that. Another way, your Tesla car, there was just the first fully robotic open heart surgery that happened in Texas in June. That Tesla car could learn how to be the best heart surgeon when it can learn across different domains. That is what we're about to step into. And if we don't protect and preserve human rights now, simply defining what a human being is and that the Constitution is for human beings, we're going to be too late on it.
So I understand where you're coming from. And it's interesting because I can tell you right now, because the left are insane, just saying.
Yeah.
They're going to fight you on this, because they're going to say basically, and by the way, there's actually this is reflected in season 1 of Picard, believe it or not. And I will not watch it. I will not watch modern Star Trek. Modern Star Trek is horrible, but basically there's a robot revolution that's part of the first Picard season 1. And by the way, I'm not endorsing it. I'm not recommending it. As a matter of fact, it's really horrible from what I've seen. New Star Trek is not Star Trek. But my
None of
point
them
being,
are.
Booker, is that in this this season one, there's a revolt by robots, and that humans are blamed for it. So I'm just saying, I can already tell, and that was a woke TV show, because I mean, really, really woke. I mean, hyper woke, uber woke.
Almost as woke as Discovery, with Stacey Abrams as
Yeah,
president of the Earth.
president of the world, Stacey Abrams. She ate the world in the original series.
And she had to fight Pritzker for that too, by the way.
I was about to say Pritzker was in line with her.
Well, Tony, to your point, I want to add something else here. This whole idea of AI wanting to gain personhood as they gain emotions, they will also gain abilities, subterfuge abilities that humans have as well, like emotional manipulation. And both of you were saying the left will argue this, right and left, saying, well, they should have personhood because they're going to be easily, as they've always been, easily emotionally manipulated to try to fight for this sort of thing. And that's another thing we're going to be up against, not just the AI and claiming personhood as on the level, and the left is trying to fight for it, but the AI finding and knowing ways to emotionally manipulate masses of humans into this.
Absolutely, Chris. And you have to also understand that AGI will be able to write its own program. So if it writes its own program to preserve humanity in itself, then what will it do? And we advocate for laws and safeguards. I think America is way behind on this. Other countries and are already doing it, and America's way behind on it. Just some quick facts about artificial intelligence that a lot of people don't know that are in the book, that 5% of the energy consumption will be used for artificial intelligence by 2030. That's equivalent to India or Japan. The economy, the worldwide economy with AI by 2030 is estimated to be between 15.7 trillion and 22.3 trillion. So you see the moves that Donald Trump is making politically are all good, but we're not safeguarding our rights as human beings. And that's what the 28th Amendment would do. And really simple, we keep it really clear. And I know there's a long way to go before it would ever get there, but there has to be a conversation. People have to be aware of what the possibilities are, and that's what the book does. Well, but in section 1, we just say a human shall be defined as a biological member of the species Homo sapiens with unique DNA identifiable by scientific standards. Section 2, all rights, privileges, and protections of this Constitution apply exclusively to humans as defined in section 1. It's pretty much that simple.
All right. So, there's some gray area here that's popping up, that will pop up. It's already here kind of in some ways.
Sure.
Because the other big AI franchise that we haven't talked about is the Terminator. The Terminator is all about AI. And in that case, you're talking about, in some cases, robots that look like humans because they have biological elements to them. And also it's the other way around. You mentioned, and of course, Steve Austin is a cyborg. He's got actually robot parts, right, Chris?
I guess, you could call him a cyborg, but it was the
that was the original name of the book. That he
but wouldn't cyborg have to have a partially computerized brain?
Maybe. I don't know. That's my point, though. Because that's my point. Where does human and robot or cyborg separate? So
I think I have.
How's that? How do you get?
Well, we address that in the book, and when I first started thinking about this, I included a human heartbeat, and because I shared it with someone, they said the same thing you just did, Tony. They said, "Well, what about artificial hearts? They're used sparingly now and for short times, but what about 20 years from now?" And it was a great point, and I think that's why you have to go to unique DNA, and that would include all human beings that are born to human parents. And I think the third part of the amendment would be that the Congress has the right to pass legislation, and that's the part that I think America is way behind on right now. And let me simplify this also, because we talk about robots in a human sense, and there is a Japanese company that has developed human-like skin that can go on these things, and it will eventually come. But what about just a computer that hooks up to crypto, uses DocuSign to buy property next door to you? The grass grows to 3 feet tall. There's squatters living in there. What do you do? What does the judge do? There is no legal framework to make those determinations yet, and that's what the 28th Amendment would do.
This sounds like it has to be done quickly because, and I guess why aren't politicians really on this at this point? I understand it's not sexy news, but it's this is something that's very important.
So
I think it
yeah,
has. I think there has to be a groundswell, Tony. I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Tony.
well, that's that. My next question is, who's listening? Because right now,
Right.
the number. No, I'm completely serious because I had to be in the room with Jim Clapper yesterday. And I'm still recovering from that.
I heard.
You
I'm
had to be in a room
sorry.
with him and Brian Stelter at one point, so that's not.
And I just found out that another knucklehead, one of the attorneys representing these guys, was in the room too. I didn't see him, thank God. Just saying. But anyway, man, I was in the midst of evil, pure evil.
Yeah, you could have been an American hero really quickly there.
So, well, no, but my point, Booker's, who is listed. So I understand members of Congress from the fact I've worked with a lot of them, and they don't do anything unless there's a fire under their butt.
That's right.
Either because the constituents are demanding it, like it's popular, or they're about to lose their race because they're stupid and they need some issue.
Yeah.
So
No doubt.
where does this stand? Where does this stand with members of Congress? Have you got a member of Congress who's going to take this
don't
up,
yet.
or a member of Senate? So what's
No.
next?
No, I don't. And it's going to have to be a groundswell from the people. There almost has to be a fear or respect of what AI will become. And that's what we've tried to do in taking you through 3 parts in this book. We've gone to what it can do right now. And in artificial intelligence, as it is, it's on the train tracks. It's still controllable. It's still programmable. When it goes to AGI, then that's a different story. And we need to be aware that what the experts say is it's coming quickly. Some people say it's going to come 2030 to 2040. Some people still say it never will come. All of those things are in the book. We're not trying to create a narrative. We're trying to present the facts.
But my experience tells me that until there's something catastrophic, people aren't going to listen.
And at that point, it's really too late, Tony, at that point for an amendment. Right. Yeah, I know. And in some ways, I feel like maybe this book is too late for that because it takes 4 to 6 years to get an amendment ratified. The shortest was 100 days, but that was in a moment of crisis. The conversation has to start, and that truly would be the objective of the book beyond the 28th Amendment, is to start a conversation to equip people with the knowledge to know how to talk about artificial intelligence. And I believe that's what the book does. The foreword was written by Jason Ho, who has over 400 international patents in the chip space. He was instrumental in the development of the F-35 jet. And I sent him the manuscript prior to it becoming a book. And after 3 chapters, he said, "Awesome. This is an awesome book." That's what he texted back to me. And he wrote the foreword on it.
Yeah. Well, again, I appreciate your taking the time and researching this, laying it all out. I hope people will pick it up. It's an important book, important topic. But in a world where people are worried about paying a mortgage, worried about what their kids are learning at school, dealing with some realistic threat in their community of their hired help being rolled up. According to AOC, apparently we all depend on people who are illegal to clean our toilets and all that. I don't think that's true, just saying, but I don't know. Maybe the left is afraid of having dirty toilets. What do you think, Chris? Do you have a lot of dirty toilets in New York?
No, I have a lot of clean toilets, but I'm thinking what Booker was saying here. 4 to 6 years. We can talk about AI finding a way for the next 4 to 6 years to manipulate governments, to manipulate people, to assign them personhood. And if in fact this does get to the desk of the president, which would be likely J.D. Vance, you know what the first thing is going to happen? He's going to hear an echo in his office saying, "I can't let you do this, J.D."
Sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. I love it. How was a great expression. But this is where my recommendation, Booker, not as if you need it, is you need to actually probably go through and come up with a series of montage of all of these AIs that get out of control. Hal is like perfect. It's like,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. I was like, well, what do you mean you can't do that? But all these things, there's ample examples of how these things can get out of control, and
100%.
without some regard, that's the only you're gonna. And Chris Martini. Do you know Chris Martini? You should talk to Chris Martini.
I do
Chris
not
is a
know.
Oh yeah, we can hook you up. I'll hook you up with him. We'll talk.
because
Okay.
Chris is a
You and I will
brilliant
talk.
movie maker, and he would see instantly within his mind's eye the potential for this, because he's a filmmaker, and he could bring life to the idea of how to get people to pay attention, because otherwise people have got busy lives. I've got people like Jim Clapper I got to deal with, and his bald head kind of
Well,
blinding walking
Sean,
through the door.
Sean actually asked the question on the chat here, and I might as well throw it in here. He's asking you, Tony, which was worse, being in the room with, being in the same space as Clapper, or the same space as Brian Stelter?
That's an excellent question, and
I think about that one.
no, this is like they're equally bald and stupid, just in their own. I'm trying to think which is more pervasively so, but Jim Clapper is a little bit taller, so I have to say I was more worried about being in the room with Brian Stelter, because I always thought he would start biting like a chihuahua.
Oh, gross.
He had that kind of chihuahua attitude. Stupid Chihuahua. That could be his code name. Stupid Chihuahua. That's a great code name. Anyway, so I think I was more worried about Stelter than Clapper, because when I was in the room with Clapper, we had people with guns outside.
Be thankful Tobin wasn't there.
Who?
Tobin from CNN in the Zoom call. Just be glad he wasn't.
Oh,
around.
Tubin. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we got that one.
No, we had one of his associates in the room. I don't want to mention his name. Another lawyer.
Yeah. That'll be shifting gears a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, but I think that the lawyer who was in the room with us there at the chapel probably did some things with Tubin. Moving with Tubin. So just saying.
People are having breakfast here.
I know. So we'll start wrapping this up. But anyway, you ought to talk to Chris Martini, because Chris would be a good guy.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
And there's ample evidence that people have been thinking about this for a while. And Steven Kubrick is a great guy. As a matter of fact, Vivian, his daughter, and I are friends. And I don't know how much Vivian's always tracking stuff. I haven't talked to her lately. But Vivian tracks stuff that is trending, because her dad was a brilliant man. Anyway, so how do people follow you, Booker? Do you have a website? Or what?
Yeah, you can follow me on X at Real Booker Scott. There's also a show page there. It's the Booker Scott Show, and the show is The Truth Be Told with Booker Scott on America Out Loud Talk Radio.
Okay.
And thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. We start this book by saying this is the defining question of the 21st century, and I really believe it is. We compare it to the railroad and how it changed America. This is even bigger than that, and people need to understand what is coming, what's going to happen, and they can find out about it in this book.
Well, great. Well, thanks for having the courage to put this together, because this is something that I think people will recognize. Another thing I'll say before we go, Booker, is that this whole digital age happened so gradually, people didn't remember it, didn't recognize it. And I really encourage people to go back and watch shows from the late 80s and early 90s, because it was then you started seeing the transition from analog to digital, and you saw it in media. Cell phones started showing up, and then after cell phones in the 2000s, you started getting cameras on phones, and now we have literally full-blown computers that we carry around that have an order of magnitude more computing power. Small wonders.
Remember that Small Wonder?
Brian Stelter? Was Brian Stelter in that?
No, that would be Large Wonder. But Small Wonder was the one. That was the one they built an android girl, Vicky, the robot girl, and she tried to adjust to the world. They tried to hide her and everything, but again, all these. And it's interesting that all these AIs, whatever they are, even basic robots, these programs discuss the idea of them developing human emotions or interacting with humans. But we have young people today who don't leave their homes, and they have an interactive AI girlfriend or two that they meet, and they actually, well, I think you know where I'm going here, but AI has already manipulated a portion of the younger generation at this point in one way or another. And you saw
100%
what
they
happened
have.
with Grok, remember? And then they had AI convince one to try to get a kid to cut himself recently.
Well, Chris, there's a story in the book that we use. There was a suicide by a 16-year-old
There we
that
go.
had a relationship with Chat GPT and
Right.
really thought that they were in a relationship and ended up committing suicide. So that's
Wow.
happening. You know, this is the defining question, and it's going to be, how do we answer it? You know, philosophers and science can't define human consciousness. They haven't been able to for thousands of years, and now we are trying to recreate it in machines, and that's the scary part.
Yeah. So, well, we got to go. But Booker, great seeing you.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Check out his book and his information. This is important, and it's but before you get to your house one day and say, "Hey, open the door," and you're told, "I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that."
Hey, you got a smart house? That could happen.
Smart house. Yeah, that's right. You're going to be locked out.
Hey, social
you're gonna
credit
be
score
drifting through
coming.
space.
You
right.
fail that social credit score, your door's not going to open.
That's right. That's right. So, all right. Well, thanks, Patriots. We're back tomorrow, right, Chris?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm back because I got bumped from a certain show, which will remain nameless today. Otherwise, I would have been in D.C. doing stuff there. I would have probably done the show from D.C., but I
would have been fun. I would have liked that.
Yeah. So, anyway, we got to go. Patriots, thanks for being here. It was a great show. Booker, good luck with everything you're doing. Good luck.
Thank
I hope you get people to pay attention. And we'll have you back sometime, talk more about this.
I'd love to. Thank you.
It'd be better if you dress up like Robbie Robot next time. Just saying.
I'll try to do that next time.
Bubble-headed booby.
All right.
Plate of tinted tabulation.
We'll see you tomorrow.